Okay. Ocala Real Estate Channel. We're going to be covering we're going to do a real deep dive today. Actually, tonight. It's actually Friday night, and I feel compelled to really analyze the Ocala real estate market right now. End of July, where is this? July 26th, 2024. We're going to be analyzing what's happened, what's going on first half of 2024, what's going on over the last several years, and kind of like let's take a look at what's going on and where we are right now in the Ocala market. And we're going to look at Marion County. You know, if we take a look at this particular graph or chart, we start looking at the data here. This is average sales price Marion County, which is where Ocala, Florida is, right? Marion County, Florida. 304,000 is the average sales price. So over the last couple of years, we've seen several jumps, right? We saw a big jump in 2021 from 2020 to 2021. If you look at the June numbers between 2020 and 2021, big, 20%, pretty much. Let's see, what is that? That's about 17. Let's see, 30%. So about 30 something percent jump June 2020 to 2021. And then not as big of a jump, but still a significant jump all the way to 2022. And then still another jump from 2022 to 2023 in the month of June, but less of a jump. And of course, now, if you look at the average sales price in June of 2024, it's been a decrease. So there's a couple of months in here, 2023, where we saw almost no growth, a little bit of growth in April, actually a slide back in May, increase in June, slide back in July, up in August, down in September, up in October, up in November, up in December, right? So you're looking at, all these numbers, and we're seeing, a little bit of, there's a little bit of wobbling going on, as opposed to when you look back at, let's take it 2021, where every single month in the year of 2021 was significantly bigger than the year before. And then going into 2022, we're looking at pretty much the same thing until we hit August, right? And now we're seeing wobbling in the marketplace. It's kind of hit or miss in the last couple of quarters of 2022, because the interest rates were going straight through the roof, right? That's when the interest rates went from, early 2022 to when it was in the twos, and then obviously reached, into 2023, it hit, the sevens. And we've been kind of parked in this range of like 6.5 to 7.25, wobbling back and forth more towards the upper parts of the sixes and lower parts of the sevens. And if your credit was just okay, there are times where, interest rates were a little bit higher, right? So that's definitely a thing. So if that's basically what we're looking at on, if we're looking at like average sales price for the last several years. Let's go to median sales price, Marion County. And what we're seeing in the median price is going to be very similar, obviously, the trends as this loads up here. And let's give it a chance as it is loading. By the way, in the chat, if you have questions, put that in the chat. Let me know where you're from as well, what part of the country you're actually watching from, and where are you? All right. So look, median sales price last 5 years, 275 in the month of June, flat, right? Look at the median price 2024, just a little bit above the last couple of years, right? April, same. March, a little bit higher. February, a little bit higher. January, a little bit higher. So not massive growth over the last couple of years. And I think that's actually, a little bit of foreshadowing. I think that's exactly what we're going to see over the next several years in Marion County, Ocala. I think things are just going to be kind of flat. I think it's going to be very much a boring marketplace. It's not going to be very interesting. But boring in the sense that there's not going to be massive change, right? I think that's going to be exactly what we're going to see. Not a whole lot of change in the marketplace. I think interest rates are going to be pretty much pretty steady for the next couple of years. Another thing I want us to look at. Let's take a look at months of inventory, which basically tells us the pace of the marketplace based on the number of sales that are happening, based on inventory, that type of thing. And obviously in 2021, the peak of the marketplace, the speed was very fast, meaning that, 2 months or less homes were on the market, meaning if there were, and I think I'm going by memory, probably about 800 homes on the market. Now we're at like 3,400, 3,500 on the market in Marion County. That 800 mark in 2021, that meant that approximately 400 to 500 homes were selling per month, meaning it would take only 2 months for all the inventory to be sold if no new homes came on the market, right? So the speed of the market. So notice how, okay, all of a sudden we're seeing a shift. Let's look at the chart. The chart's going to tell us a lot too. Like this is 2021, right? This tells us, this is kind of a down at this point here, looking at a very fast, rapid market, and then the market is slowing down. This is kind of counterintuitive, but interest rates are also doing this. And then, okay, recovery after like big spikes up, and then middle of 2023, it picks up again, and then now it's settled down. In 2024 is kind of a normalish marketplace, right? Now, of course, look at 2019. Let's take a look at 10 years. Let's take look at the 10-year chart here, and then I'm going to tell you what all this means. Let's take a look at that. So you're looking at months of inventory, like lots of inventory, a slowish marketplace from 2014 all the way through up until we got to 2020, when interest rates just went straight through the floor, right? Went down to the twos. Marketplace picks up. And this, by the way, is very similar to what we're seeing pretty much everywhere in Florida. Very similar to what we're seeing everywhere in Florida, that kind of pace. So, pay attention to that for sure. So a couple of things I want to bring up as far as like, what are we seeing as far, what does all this mean? The first thing it means is that, we may see a little bit of a drop in interest rates, which means that, you could take advantage of something maybe in the next 60 to 90 days. That's probably going to happen, the next month or two. We're going to see something. It might be a slight decrease, but I don't think it's going to be a massive drop. We're not going back to 2021 because inflation fears are still there. And we're not seeing the market crash, right? Like tons of foreclosures. It's not 2008. So be thinking about that and how you're going, what are you going to do next? If you don't have to sell, then, obviously don't sell, but it's actually a pretty decent time to sell because the prices have held steady. So if you do need to liquidate, I don't know if this is going to be a better time to sell, maybe next 30 to 90 days, perhaps. But certainly I think time is more precious than money, without a doubt. I think everybody would agree with that. I mean, money is very important, obviously, but time is everything. So by the way, if you have questions, 352-572-3796, 352-572-3796, broker owner of Realty Executives, located on Silver Springs Boulevard, been a broker, and Realty Executives has been in existence for the last 20 years, since 2004. And we know them. I've lived in Ocala, Marion County since 1995, right? 1995, yeah, 1995. So it's going to be, we're what, 20, it's almost 30 years. Wow, 30 years in one spot. The other thing I want to bring up is after the deep dive that we've talked about, I do want to bring up the fact that we are seeing some changes in the real estate world. And I'm not going to talk about commission compensation, and that's been a big thing about what realtors and brokers are talking about right now. But what's more important is how it impacts you, the public. So one thing it does when you're talking about how it impacts the public is that you are going to see agents needing you to sign some sort of buyer broker form. It could be something they're calling a pre-touring form. It might be a showing agreement. It might be what they're calling a buyer broker agreement, or a BBA. Something that proves that you are, it's being disclosed that you are being represented by someone that is a realtor, and the realtor is also making it perfectly clear as to how they're getting paid, right? Those are the things that I think we need to look at. That's what's important to you. So if you see a realtor giving you a buyer brokerage agreement, don't flip out, because you might not have seen this ever before in any of the homes that you bought in the last 50 years or 5 years or what years. Just know that it is going to be mandatory in the next several weeks. In the month of August, it's going to be mandatory probably pretty much forever. It's going to be new, it's kind of a new landscape for realtors and real estate agents. And I think it's so more than ever, it's going to be important. Here's my recommendation around that, by the way. When you're communicating, if you want to look at a home, slow down for just a little bit, right? Because a lot of times when we shop, we're like, I just want to look at the home. I want to shop. I want to buy. And I think that's important. But I think even more important than that is going to be the guidance and the advice that you're getting in buying the home. Meaning, who are you working with to help you navigate the process? Because a home is not just buying a home. It's not a car, right? It's not a car. It's a home. And it's much more expensive in most cases. And it's also a little bit more complex, because there are a lot of different things that you want to make sure that they work, right? Inspections are important. Appraisals are important. Contract terms are important. So expertise, knowledge, guidance on whether you're buying a lemon, whether you are buying, overpaying, underpaying. Is it a good price? Is it just an average price? What is it? And a great agent's going to help you do that. So really look at what the buyer's agents are now offering. It's my recommendation. But if you have questions about that, connect 352-572-3796. And also you can look at our website if you're looking at property, buymidflhomes.com, buymidflhomes.com. And hope everybody has a great weekend. Please connect, please like and subscribe. And if you know someone that needs to see this, please share it. That'd be super helpful. And for the time being, happy rest of July. Take care.